G'day, welcome to Oly35mm, user-based, quasi-empirical, cheap and cheerful videos on Olympus 35mm cameras. Now, while we're talking about cheap and cheerful, the Olympus Trip 505. They don't actually get much more cheap and cheerful than this, but you know, I actually rather like this. It came out in 2002, one of those blow-molded bubble wrap type things that you stick on a hook, you know, and mass-produced, mass-marketed, you know, department store type camera. Point and shoot, fixed focus. In fact, let me just open up the little Pac-Man looking lens cover there. Little fixed focus f6.7 28mm lens, fixed 1/100th of a second shutter speed. To be honest with you, you really want to be using a color negative film with this, or negative film, something with a wide exposure latitude, otherwise you're going to run into some problems. But having said that, this is has got some quite reasonable features for what it actually is. There is there's a focus indicator, sorry, a lens, start again, a flash indicator to tell you when the flash is charged. There'll be multiple flickering if it's not ready, and then it will be green when it's actually ready. So I think I'm maybe hoping you can see that. Yep, great. You've got indications on the top of how many frames you've got left, how the battery is going, and also that there's actually a film inside. Of course, you've got the film indicator there as well, indicator window, so you can see there's actually a film in there. But this actually tells you that it's wound on properly. There is a self timer. There is also an opportunity to be able to have a red eye reduction, a forced fill-in flash, and also no flash. Typical Olympus point and shoot. When you turn it on, turn it off, and then turn it on again, it resets all of that. So standard with Olympus point and shoots is, as soon as you turn on, if you don't want the flash, press the flash button twice to get the little cross through the flash symbol, and away you go. Be careful with this. This one also goes into sleep mode. I took a photograph at a traffic light once of a sign that I thought was pretty cool, and even though I actually had the lens open, it had gone into sleep mode, and when I pressed the shutter button, of course the flash went off in actually not too bad conditions, and I think the guy going the other way probably thought that I was the red light camera, probably thought he was speeding or something. So you've got to be careful of that. Basically, just keep your eye on the flash setting. So I'll just turn it off and turn it back on again, and you'll actually see what I mean by... So, you know, this is quite, you know, reasonable light, or at least videoing by it, of course. It will fire before the flash is charged. And there you go. It's not gonna fire the flash now, just to make a liar out of me, and it will just fire the flash whenever it feels like it. So there we go, before the flash was charged. Okay, so there is it's run by two AA size batteries, which is really handy. Sorry, I'll put that down so I can actually see it on the screen. Two AA size batteries, which is really handy. It has a tripod socket and an auto wind. In fact, let's actually wind the film back while we're talking. It's quite a reasonable shutter as far as actually pressing the shutter button. It's quite responsive without being too easy to push. The camera will not take a photograph when there is no film, or the film is in there but is rewound back. So if we just open this little fella up, you'll see it's your standard stuff. Wound the film back into the container. The film is very easy to load. It gives you a little bit of an indication of how you're supposed to load it properly. So the film sits flat, or the canister sits flat and doesn't stick up. Otherwise, you can't close the actual door. And the standard tab here, if I can get you to see it, saying put your film tongue into here, and it will automatically wind. So And of course it'll go crazy for a little while there because it can't find a film. We'll just wait for it to do its thing. Okay, so that's the cheap and cheerful Olympus Trip 505. There were a few other models. There were even autofocus ones around. I don't think I'll bother getting any more. But I actually don't mind this. The lens is a bit vignette-y. In fact, it's sort of dark around the edges. And also, it's not particularly clear. Fixed focus, 1 meter to infinity. It's very definitely a low-mo camera, but sort of with a couple of features that makes it really worth your while. I wouldn't mind sort of keeping it in my bag, you know, on a regular basis and using it. So anyway, cheap and cheerful Trip 505. Hope you liked this particular review. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We'll see you at the next review. Thanks again. Bye.